Hello, my name is Abby, and I am the Talking Book Librarian. Thank you for joining us for our book talk series today. These videos will be recorded and out on the Indiana State Library's YouTube channel, as well as the Talking Book Facebook page. The purpose of these book talks is to provide book ideas for book clubs and to include questions for you to answer for yourself or in a book club setting. These videos will remain online for the foreseeable future, so you can decide to read these books whenever you'd like. If you're interested in this book or any of the others, give the Talking Book employees a call at 800-622-4970. Feel free to pause this video at any time to answer any of the questions. The book we will be discussing today is Sunrise on the Reaping, which is very exciting considering that the movie Sunrise on the Reaping comes out, I think, in a couple of months. So we can get ahead of the curve and read that. But let me give you a little synopsis of the book. When you've been set up to lose everything you've loved, what is there left to fight for? As the day dawns on the 50th annual Hunger Games, fear grips the districts of Panem. This year, in honor of the quarter quell, twice as many tributes will be taken from their homes. Back in District 12, Hamish Abernathy is trying not to think too hard about his chances. All he cares about is making it through the day and being with the girl he loves. When Hamish's name is called, he can feel all his dreams break. He's torn from his family and his love, shuttled to the capital with 3 other District 12 tributes, a young friend who's nearly a sister to him, a compulsive odds maker, and the most stuck-up girl in town. As the games begin, Hamish understands he's been set up to fail, but there's something in him that wants to fight and have that fight reverberate far beyond the deadly arena. And of course, this is written by Suzanne Collins, who is quite a prolific writer, but she has gone back to the Hunger Games world to give us this book. So let me tell you a little bit about the author. Since 1991, Suzanne Collins has been busy writing for children's television. She has worked on the staffs of several Nickelodeon shows, including the Emmy-nominated hit Clarissa Explains It All and the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo. For preschool viewers, she penned multiple stories for the Emmy-nominated Little Bear and Oswald. She also co-wrote the critically acclaimed Rankin Bass Christmas special, Santa Baby. Most recently, she was the head writer for Scholastic Entertainment's Clifford's Puppy Days. Thinking one day about Alice in Wonderland, she was struck by how pastoral the setting must seem to kids who, like her own, lived in urban surroundings. In New York City, you're much more likely to fall down a manhole than a rabbit hole. And if you do, you're not going to find a tea party. What might you find? Well, that's the story of Gregor the Overlander, the first book in her 5-part series, The Underland Chronicles. Suzanne also has a running picture book illustrated by Mike Lester, entitled When Charlie McButton Lost Power. She currently lives in Connecticut with her family and a pair of feral kittens they adopted from their backyard. The book she is most successful for in teenage eyes are The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. These books have won several awards, including the G.A. Peach Award. All right, and now we will get into the discussion questions here. And so the first question is, discussing Lenore with Hamish, Snow states, "You love her, and oh, how she seems to love you. Except sometimes you wonder, because her plans don't include you at all." That's on page 129. What has Lenore Dove kept hidden from Hamish? How does that affect him? Why do you think Lenore Dove hides things from Hamish? The second question. There we go. Which tributes use mental prowess to navigate the games, as opposed to technology, weaponry, or brute strength? With so much of his experience dictated by other people like Snow, Plutarch, and the game makers, at what moments does Haymitch take charge and make his own decisions? How do Haymitch's feelings for Maisie transform from loathing to grudging respect to love? Can you pinpoint the moment that she became a sister to him? How are the dynamics of alliances impacted in the games, with twice as many tributes? Plutarch tells the tributes, public opinion is driven by emotion. People have an emotional response to something, then they come up with an argument for why it logically makes sense. Make the audience feel for you. They'll figure out intellectually why you're the right tribute to support. And that's page 199. In what ways do Haymitch and the other tributes use the fact that they are always on camera to their advantage? How is it to their disadvantage? In what ways do Snow and those involved in the creation and promotion of the Hunger Games control the narrative throughout the story? How does the audience, composed of citizens in the capital and the districts, impact what is shown during the games? Watching the recap, Haymitch finally sees how his experience differs from the story that the capital is going to tell going forward. Why is he so critical of himself? After the games are over, why does he play along with Snow? Talking to Haymitch the day of the reaping, Lenore Dove declares, and that's part of our trouble. Thinking things are inevitable, not believing change is possible. Page 10. Why do the districts send their children to the games every year? What would happen if they refused? Discussing capital rule and the games more specifically, Plutarch states, I still don't think the fear they inspire justifies this arrangement we've all entered into. Page 104. What is the arrangement he alludes to? How do the citizens of Panem freely give their power away? The opening quotation by David Hume reads, force is always on the side of the governed. The governors have nothing to support them but opinion. Describe the ways the capital controls the population of Panem, which vastly outnumbers its leadership. And these questions are from bookclubs.com. They have a lot of different discussion guides on different popular books and even some not as popular books. So I always say go there first to see if maybe there's a discussion guide on the book that you're reading. And now I would like to provide a few of my own thoughts on the book. I thought it was a really good addition to going back to Panem and going into the Hunger Games. Everybody wants to know Haymitch's story in the first three books, and I think she did a really good job of actually telling that story. I enjoyed reading it. I enjoyed the first three books, of course. I read them when I was a teenager. And then, of course, now I'm reading this in my 30s. And it was fun to see the differences and kind of the way she changed the stories a little bit to kind of go with today's world for the kids to want to read those again to make yourself still relevant. I think she did a great job. I enjoyed being back in the world. And she did a really good job of telling his story and giving people some characterization maybe that didn't have some before. We got to know Plutarch better. We got to know Snow better, which of course always gives us some more ideas, and maybe she'll go back to the world again. I have no idea what is next in store for her. But the movie is also coming out, I think, in a couple of months. It'll definitely be out, I think, in 2026 at some point. So if you like the books and if you like the movies, then go and see the movie as well. And maybe you'll be able to compare and contrast how they're different from each other. I would definitely recommend this. Definitely read the Hunger Games series first before you read this, or it won't make a lot of sense. But definitely worth a read if you enjoy the disaster fiction and kind of the end of the world type of thing. Um, I I think it's a fun read, so you should definitely try it. I will see you guys again in September. We'll be doing a spooky season book for that one. I believe it's a Grady Hendrix book, something about witchcraft, and it's very fun. It's not too spooky, but just enough to kind of make you think. So I will see you guys back in September and we will do this again. Thanks, guys.